Talking about Bucky Barnes when you say the character that stole the movie.
Yeah. What? Are you you're talking about Armless Jesus?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Sean. I was just here to let you guys know to become a Patreon. You want to know why? Because we just dropped an hour and 15-minute extended discussion of the Black Panther and the MCU with Chris from the Normies. It's up on our Patreon page right now. Get access to that, to our shitty movie nights, and a bunch of other exclusive content that no one else in the world gets to see. I really appreciate you guys, and let's get back to the goddamn discussion.
Hey, hi everybody. What's up? It's Sean Tanked Up over here. We are over here with House Burlington, but we have ourselves an import right over here. This guy.
Yep, straight from Wakanda. What's up, guys? I'm Chris Johnson. I am from the Normies. I'm sure there'll be a link in the description. We've done some skits with these guys. We love these guys. We're from Indy. This is Chicago. And we didn't do a Black Panther thing, and I happen to be in town today.
Lovely circumstance.
Yeah, it's a big internet, but it's a small world, baby. We're all hanging out.
Absolutely, especially in the Midwest, man.
Oh, yeah.
And we got ourselves Dustin over here. We got Scott.
What's up?
And we are going to be talking about a moderately successful movie.
Oh, very
It's
successful.
it's a little indie darling, and I think we'll just kind of roll right into it insofar as just what we thought about the movie.
Big spoiler, I enjoyed the movie. Going into it, I was expecting it to be kind of like a run-of-the-mill Marvel movie. I wasn't expecting any of the subtext. I was like, Disney's not going to let them do any of the fun shit, talk about the things that I kind of feel like they need to talk about. So I was going into it with kind of a lower expectation. Saw it in IMAX. We've got one of the only IMAX theaters, the actual ones in Indy. So saw it there, blew my mind, went with the crew. We were hyped, and I was like, this is fucking amazing and awesome, and it surpassed my expectations. And so I really enjoyed it. I had just saw Ragnarok before, and I didn't think Ragnarok was going to be super good, but Ragnarok surprised me. So Marvel, in my opinion, has kind of been on this weird uptrend.
This is a movie that has something to say.
Yeah.
That doesn't usually happen with speaking about Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok isn't a movie. It's just a bunch of
fun.
skits.
Yeah.
It's a really fucking fun.
Yeah.
Fucking bunch of scenes.
Which in a strange way is more of a better encapsulation of a comic book than a film anyways.
Yes,
right?
100%.
It's zany and fun and weird, and you're like, oh, I just got to see what happens next. Right. Like you're going to buy a serialized paperback. You know what I mean? So it's not really fair, but this film, like so many others, is kind of weighed down by the expectation and the hype that was put around it. And I saw going into the film that it had 97 or 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. I enjoyed the film. I would give it a B. I think that it is good. I think it is above average, but I was smacked in the face by this is just another good Marvel film. It is not the cinematic event of a lifetime that it was kind of built up to be.
Okay.
And I know that that's not fair to the film. It's not the film's fault necessarily that people were putting those expectations on it, but that is the number one thing that I walked away from the film is being like, wow, that was good, but I definitely don't need to reappraise or reevaluate my life, having seen that.
I think so. One of the things is the black community wasn't gonna let this movie fail. We weren't. We were gonna go out. We were gonna see it no matter what. Shit's been happening with fucking Madea movies. They're trash.
Right.
I'm gonna say it right here, right now. At me in the comments, Madea movies are trash.
Yeah.
All day long, we can talk about it. And so finally, it was and I know we've had other black superheroes. We had Blade. We had Spawn.
Meteor
but
Man.
This shit, goddamn Meteor Man. Somebody else said Blank Man. We had that, but let's not pretend Marvel is the king of making comic book movies.
True.
At me, DC is not doing a great job at it.
True
So
statement.
we finally get these black superheroes in this black comic book movie that
in the modern context.
in the modern context, and we saw it, and it was like I'm a young kid from Gary, but then there's so there's an element of that for me, but then it's also but what about your roots, and what about this shit from Africa, and so I think when if I can speak for every single black person on the planet, when we went to go see it. It was much more like an experience for us. I had goosebumps through the whole movie, and I was like, this movie's making me feel shit that I haven't felt before. So when people are raving about it, ranting about it, I think that, it's a really damn good fucking comic book movie and a really good movie. It means something to me, but that's not what it's going to mean to most of the culture in the U.S., and it's going to mean something different to them. So, I can take that away, and I can get it. For me, it's in my top 3 Marvel movies. I need to sit down and decide which one. It's probably going to be number 1. I'm just going to keep it real. But, when some people saw it, they were like, there's something in this that, I haven't seen before.
Well, I think this is the corner of dissent over here, yeah. And, in terms of Marvel movies, it was fine. It was fun. Do I need to see it again? No.
Really?
I don't need to see it again.
I would probably see it again.
I'm going to see it again. Who am I kidding?
Full spoiler stop.
But I don't know, I went into it and it was fine. It was a fine movie. I enjoyed it as a movie. I didn't think that it's a game changer like everybody's saying is. It's not like defining the Marvel universe going forward. It didn't like shock me in any way. It didn't surprise me in how good it was. I thought it was a solid film. I mean, it's actually like one of the few Marvel films that had a plot line.
Yes.
Like, which that I will give it. Like it made sense. Unlike Thor, was like what that was just a bunch of
Right. Yeah.
Anyway,
That was just a bunch of sketches, like we were talking. I got to do credit where credit's due because I'm trying to be a realist about the film or whatever. But credit where credit's due. Thematically, some of the ideas addressed in this film. Are deeper and more powerful than I think that 99% of other films, not only within the MCU, but within action movies, like generally, right? I enjoyed that part of it.
I will say this about the new direction of the MCU, of like making sure that you have directors that have a voice and have a feel and a style.
And fucking
Yeah, and that's been really interesting, and I think that they're starting to see that they can break the norm from the MCU curse of like this formulaic, like every movie looks the same, by letting these like really inventive directors do their thing and not let it be watered down and like. So like, yes, I agree with what you're saying. Where like yes, they have a formula, but like they're letting people play in their sandbox.
It's almost like being a director on a television show, like where you kind of come into this apparatus and you have to like craft kind of the story and kind of the tone. I never fucking thought that we'd see a Ant-Man, Panther, Doctor Strange, like all this
and
shit.
like people are
never
stoked.
thought we would see it.
And like people, and it's not only that, but it's now in the cultural zeitgeist. For like, I was walking down the street last night, and somebody just like drove by in a car yelling "Wakanda forever!" And I just like out of nowhere, I'm like, they're clearly, I don't know why they're yelling it at me. I'm like, I'm like, did you
like the movie?
But I think that's cool that we're seeing that moment where people are just like excited about things, and I'm excited to see like little kids in like Black Panther costumes.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be that warms my heart.
Going in, I didn't read any of the comic books. The only comic books I've ever read growing up were Sonic comic books because I was lame. I'm willing to admit that. Even a comic book nerd thought I was a nerd.
Yeah.
So I had really no expectations. I didn't even know he was going to be in Civil War. But then when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I liked him in Civil War. He was kind of a cardboard cutout, super stern guy. And so I'm glad he got like some room to breathe in this movie where I was like, oh, you know, the Black Panther is a cool dude. He's got like some things to say. And even like when he's not at work, he's just like walking around, he's being a king. He's a cool ass king. I'm like, all that's cool. So I went in with not a lot of expectations about anything. I didn't even know like what to expect at all. And I was surprised. It was good for me. So.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like when you're making the Black Panther film, you can either swing for the fences and try to really embrace the material in the comic books, or you can just make the inoffensive, don't be afraid of black people in a superhero film that everyone's going to guilt watch, right? And really
make the same amount of money.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. And I will give Coogler and the team a lot of credit. I think the film's just okay. Like I don't think like it's incredible, but they went for it. They really went for it, and that's awesome.
Last controversial statement, probably not the last.
Yeah.
Coogler and Michael B. Jordan, they are the new Scorsese and Robert De Niro for me.
Each other.
The way they work together in the
gotta
film.
stay
I'm so cool with that.
Talk about performances, and then we'll talk about like the performance and like kind of the character in the movie that kind of stole everything.
Talking about Bucky Barnes when you say the character that stole the movie.
What are you? You're talking about Armless Jesus?
Armless African Jesus.
Let's go. Yeah, the white wolf or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
he actually looks like the Buddha.
Dude, also, by the way, think about this. So you have like Ulysses Claw and you have Bucky Barnes who's hanging out in Wakanda. They're like the only, like some of the only white people that some of these Wakandans have seen. I think they're like all white people.
Two out of three white people only have one arm.
Two out of three white people that I've seen only have one arm.
Some kids are gonna grow up and be like, holy shit, white people have two arms.
Yeah, right.
I knew two white people and they only have
one arm. Then we cut to like a Wakandan school. It's like, if you can see here, white people only have one arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Go back to just the performances in general. I thought that Chadwick Boseman did
thumbs way up.
A really, really good job. And their take on the character was also interesting because I really love that they didn't make him like the proto like Marvel like cocky asshole.
Right, yes. Yeah.
That's like everyone.
They
That's
took
like
him down a
Doctor
notch.
Strange, it's Thor, it's Iron Man, it's fucking Spider-Man,
Ant-Man.
all that. Ant-Man, everybody needs to get like
Quippy.
And this motherfucker rolls up as royalty. You were like, oh yeah, because everybody else was kind of like more interesting and kind of crazy and emotional around him. But like he's like that kind of like he's the base of the soup that everybody kind of has to kind of like marinate in. And I thought that was a really smart decision.
Yeah, in the literal and metaphoric sense, he's the center of the country and the movie.
Yeah.
And I think that when you're the straight man for an entire nation,
Yeah.
you know, you
right.
Can't be quippy.
And he didn't come across boring, luckily, because that could have also been the other thing.
I agree.
So, like,
He's charismatic. I mean, he's a good-looking dude. He's fun to look at on screen, you know. And you're like, all right, cool. Like, you want to root for him, and like you feel when he's conflicted. Like, you really, it's really cool.
Like, I'm an American, so I don't fuck with no monarchs. We had
Yeah,
that shit.
yeah.
We got rid of
Get
that.
out!
Get out. But if I had to choose a king, like, he's a solid king. Like, living in Wakanda was like, oh, it'd be a cool place to live. We get a king. I mean, I don't have to vote.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's a comic book.
You take a little marble and just put it in like a little blow hole, and then you're good.
Yeah.
I'm down there. I'm down with that.
I'll talk about him more later because I feel like we all have a lot to say about him. But my character, well, I was really digging because, like, Michonne needs more work. I know that I'm fucking up by not knowing her real name. I think her last name's Guerrero or something almost like that. But the actress who played
Denaya or something?
Denaya with something with a G.
Michonne, you're talking about
We
Michonne.
were talking about. You'll put the picture up of Michonne. And I also forget the name of her character in
Okoye?
Like Okoye? Yeah, it was Okoye.
The general.
The general. Her fighting was dope. Her spear was dope. The way she took her mannerisms, like when she was in the casino, she was like I'm not a fucking spy. I'm a guard. I'm a soldier.
Right,
I don't
right,
like hiding in plain sight.
Right.
She wasn't about that. And so, like, just her whole thing. Every time she was on screen, I was like, "Why are you still on Walking Dead? You need more work, and they don't even use you on Walking Dead. Like, somebody put her in a fucking movie."
Right. We got to cap the Walking Dead complaints.
How badass did she look when she was on top of that car?
Yeah.
She was just like, "Fuck it, I'm getting out of the car." I was like, "Oh my god!" And
That was
like,
cool.
just her whole thing was like dope. And like, I saw that, and I was like.
Characterization of her was fucking fantastic.
And like she also had her little bit of standout of gold on her neck, and I also like how they intermingled like a lot of the things from Africa, like the lead plate, and like how some tribes like elongate their neck, so they had like the gold, and, like, the rings around the neck for that, and like.
I gotta say, like one of my favorites though was Shuri with the sister.
She's good.
Little plucky, really cute. They found a way to integrate her into an action scene that like where she wasn't just like, no, you gotta turn right, you know what I mean? Like, that was really cool. Like that was a very like clever bit of like writing, and it was just a way to integrate like the guy on a computer,
Right.
The guy in the chair,
right, like into the actual like the text of the action.
I'll give you credit, man. Whenever I see the guy in the chair in an action film,
Yeah.
flag goes off. You know how I take notes on all the movies. I write it down and say, guy in the chair, thumbs down, you know. Like that. This film, I never thought that because even though it was kind of trivial, they found a way to make it different.
Shuri, I have a little sister, and she was hitting the little sister vibes.
Yeah.
Spot on.
I took my little sister to see that movie, and
You little shit. You know exactly.
you're the one, like you're the youngest one, and you know what you can fucking get away with.
Right.
Yeah, you got the fastest mouth in the whole.
That football scene, my little sister does this shit all the time.
Right.
Mom's not even looking, and she's like, "I know what you're doing." Like that was like, that's my household.
And
That's-
I like her a lot, and I think her character. She's
the Black Mirror.
But one of my major problems with it is just that tonally in the film, it's a very serious film.
Yeah, in some ways.
So she was your humor. And
She was arguably the comic relief.
I had a little problem in that I think they took it a little too far, where it was like every time she was like, blast something. Yes.
Yeah.
And you're but I really love her in the MCU because it brings this whole new element of like youth.
Yes.
Which they're
And
sorely
smarts.
lacking. Having her in the MCU opens us up to like, so like there's the idea of who's going to replace Robert Downey Jr.
Yes.
I think Riri Williams would be great. And if you get Shuri and Riri as like best buds in the MCU as like this kind of like passing of the like that is something I want to see.
I want to see her hanging out with young Peter Parker.
I was thinking that too.
Like get all the science nerds together, you know?
Put some vibranium in.
Yeah, the internet-
Vibranium the Hulk. Fuck it.
The internet already fell in love with science bros once, right?
Yeah.
Can't we do like science bros again, right?
Yeah,
That'd be
I
great.
think you get all the new young actors of this like the MCU together, and like it's really like that's exciting to me.
Little mini shout out to fucking Gollum, to Andy Serkis.
Yeah,
I had a good time with
And
him.
Bilbo.
I thought he was great.
He was because where you had like the Killmonger, type, which is like I think we'll get to him last. Like, but he's kind of like the classic scene chewing, garish, like comic book villain.
Right.
Like,
I don't
hold on, let me get this thing. Pulls it out of his fucking crowd.
Right.
Yeah.
Puts it down. You know what I mean? Like he
was over the top, but I
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, but
loved it.
And I was kind of pissed that they killed him.
Me too.
Keep him around.
I liked Claw a lot. Remember, he was one of the things that stood out with me when I was a kid, when I was reading these comics.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that they killed him. And the reason why is it thematically reinforced the conflict between Killmonger and T'Challa, where Killmonger shows up. And okay, we'll talk about this later. I love the conflict for power in Wakanda. That was one of the most interesting things in the entire film. And without Claw's ascendancy to villainhood, then being chopped down and then presented by another villain as saying, "I get shit done."
Yep.
That was
No, it made
Killmonger 2020.
yeah.
He's so
It
good.
was one of those ones where I think it was just because it was just like, oh, Andy Serkis like had a little too much fun and so did I. You know what I mean? Like, we're just like, okay, so that's why I want to see him.
But seeing him as like a real person and not like a CGI ape or
Was
like
great.
as like
I
you know,
enjoyed that,
like it's
yeah.
just like you're like, man, he's so good.
Oh, right, yeah.
There were people who were like, where do I know that guy from? And like I'm leaning forward, I'm like, it's Gollum.
Yeah.
He's Gollum.
Yeah,
That's where you know him
a couple of
from.
times when he was laughing to himself, where I was expecting him to start, he's gonna like look in the mirror and be like, "Why this?"
His vibranium ring. Put real Andy Serkis in more shit. So Claw, I went to go see it with my wife. She's from Czech Republic, so she doesn't get a lot of these like in jokes. I also went to go see it with a bunch of my friends who get all the in jokes. When Claw walks into the casino and he's got all these people with him, and Martin, what's his name? Martin Short? Not Martin Short.
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman. When he was like, oh, you got an entourage with you. He's like, you got a mixtape coming out.
Oh my
and then
God.
Claw goes, yeah, I got the SoundCloud link, and I was like, that was it. Because if you've seen a lot of these SoundCloud rappers, it's like Takeshi 69 and like Gucci Gang. They all like are like young white dudes with like crazy hair that look crazy.
Yeah.
He looks like an older version of that, and I was like, that's some of the funniest fucking writing.
I liked
Whoever
it.
wrote that shit.
I
was
liked
like,
it.
Martin Freeman did not need to be in that movie, even though I
I
know
agree.
he's a central character
Yes.
to like their like friendship and this
Well,
like
and
see
he's the
Agent
one
Ross.
through line from the MCU.
He is. It's like he's Agent, he's Agent Coulson.
Yeah.
It's just like let's just have a CIA guy. It's like why, we don't need this token white dude. Like we don't need him.
he means token as in the JR.
Right. That's
I'm like anti-throwaway representationalist garbage generally, and this was just the reverse of what that normally is, where we were shoving a white comforting face into a film where it's just distracting. He didn't need to be there. I wanted more time with our heroes. Who cares whether he lives or dies in this fucking movie, you know?
Or like take a bullet, but then even at the end where he's like, how much time do I got? and then I'm like, okay, so he's gonna like, because that would have been actually a nice little thing where, again, illustrating why Wakanda needs to open its borders is that a foreigner gave his life to save the country.
Yeah, that's
like,
actually a really good idea.
If you're gonna fucking tease it, then just fucking do it.
you're a pilot.
Oh my
Go
God.
fly. And I'm like,
Big weakest point in the entire film.
because what we could have been doing is spending a little bit more time on shit that I'm actually interested in.
Right.
But
Like as in taking over Wakanda, as in like, you know what I mean?
Give
Like
T'Challa
shit
just
that I'm
more time on the fucking camera, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
he carries the film, and we never really... I left the theater wanting more time with the main character, and that's not a great sign for a film.
and also you turned, Manape is an ally, but I'm okay with it.
I love that.
I'm okay with it.
I thought it was awesome.
Like he's great. but-
M'Baku?
Yeah.
Dude, T'Challa M'Baku 2020.
Let's go.
That's the shit that I'm on right now.
That's the only
like,
scenario where the
that's-
vice president might actually assassinate the president. So he'll come, right? Like,
Trial by combat halfway through.
pardons himself and like walks into the White House, you know?
That whole scene where he's like fucking like doing the hoot and he's like, ooh. And he's like, if you speak again, I'll feed you my children in my head. I was like, God damn, this fucking savage. He's like, nah, we vegetarians. And I was like, right. The whole theater was like, goddamn, like,
Yes.
He was great.
He was like another one of like a scene stealer, just in just some way, just in how they wrote it and how they put it all together and stuff like that.
Again, going back to the comics, they just capture the idea where the balance of power being so important for a king to keep. They're the fifth tribe that has never really fallen in line.
Yeah.
And his character perfectly portrays
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know? Like, it's like always challenging the throne, respectful when he has to be, but clearly not submissive or subservient, you know?
Right.
Plus the dude's built like a University of Miami linebacker, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
He's huge.
And we all knew.
Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that one meme where it's just like, man, M'Baku looks like a dude that would still get you pregnant even after you got your tubes tied.
I think the elephant in the room is probably Killmonger's performance by Michael B. Jordan, who was excellent in the movie.
Feels steals the movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Kinda.
Not to the film's detriment, though.
No,
There have definitely been movies where a supporting actor has been so much stronger and so much better than the leads that the film suffers for it. I think this is a film that is made better by the strength of his performance, and he's very good. I was scared of him because he was.
You should have been.
He's not only like fit. So in the comics, which I know you don't read them, and you read a little bit.
I've seen pictures. I know what he looks like.
Yeah, he is set up to be gigantic. You know what I mean? Like we're not talking like body dysmorphic Hulk kind of like largeness or whatever, but
he's like the Mountain.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, or like
yes.
like a Bane-ish type character.
Yeah. I would say probably 1 degree short of Bane because Bane gets body horror sometimes in some of the comics. It's weird. But Michael B. Jordan's physical presence in the film, his ability to communicate through not only being shredded, like just jacked beyond belief, right?
Ridiculous.
But just his presence was excellent.
Did everybody just like? Did we all just collectively shrink? Right before that scene where they were gonna fight each other, he just like killed everybody in Iraq.
Yeah.
He stopped his thing, just
On
like,
all boom.
Yeah.
When he says I kill people on all 7 continents, my first thought was, motherfucker, he's in Antarctica? What scientist did you murder in Antarctica? And why? Some dude's working with penguins and Killmonger shows up. He's like, I need this to prove a point, dog. Hold still.
It was like him marauding with a bunch of polar bears, like taking people out.
Right?
There's a level of restraint in his acting where I'm not like a vocal coach, I don't know how to describe this, but the way that he delivers dialogue with the grill on, you know, and it's kind of like
His posture.
I think the word he might be looking for is swag.
There's a little bit of that.
kind of it's just,
A little bit? Come on.
it's really more that he is so menacing in everything that he does that you believe him when he says that he's killed people
So
on all
self-assured,
7.
like he.
I took life from my own brothers and sisters right here on this continent. And all this death, just so I could kill you.
He carries himself in such a way that it's just like I don't even have to think about this.
Right, exactly. I'm acting on instinct.
Right. It's just,
You'd be self-assured if you look like that too, though. I mean,
Yeah, if I woke up that drag, I'd do whatever I want. So his whole his thing with I was really just digging like his whole look. It was really cool from the way that he dressed and the way that he carried himself, and his hair was fucking dope. I'm going bald. I've always wanted cool black guy hair, but I can't get it. So I look good bald though, so that's a good thing. But like when he was in when he's talking with the lady and like he's menacing and stuff, and he's doing that thing where the villain has to kill somebody innocently so you can understand that they're really the villain, right? But he does it in like a cool different way. He's like, hey, tell me about this thing right here, and like he's like fucking with her, and you get he's like, well, tell me about this thing, and he's like, no, you're wrong. That's from Wakanda. And she's like, what? And then he's like, you know, you got all these guards watching, but you don't know what you're putting in your body. And like, damn, dog, why you being so fucking smooth? And then like Claw runs in and he's being crazy, but he's still like Michael B. Jordan, still being smooth. And then he like looks at that mask. He's like, is that vibranium too? He's like, no, I'm just kind of fucking feeling it.
Love that.
That shit, I'm like, dog. Like I'm watching, I'm like, I don't want to like you, bro. But that's just fucking dope. Like,
So I like that they write him as kind of a contemplative, critical thinker, but and you can see the wheels turning in his head in the movie, but his mannerisms are what you're saying. Like completely rowdy, you know what I mean? Just like work on instinct, do what I want, act first, think about it later.
He's already worked it out.
Right.
It's like, this is how the plan is going to go down, so I'm just going to have fun.
we'll improvise a little bit in the middle. It's kinda
right,
fun,
right.
In the themes of the Black Panther, the Killmonger-T'Challa dynamic is emphasized by the African-American kind of conflict with the African-African
100%.
kind of thing.
100%.
And they expressed the hell out
I think they got it. I think they got it really well.
They
did
fucking
it.
nailed it.
Yeah, they did it, and it wasn't like overbearing, and you know, coming to it from somebody who doesn't have that struggle. It wasn't like beating me over the head,
Right.
And but it was like it was there, and it was poignant, and it made sense to me. It felt real. It felt very real.
This is when the movie actually kind of did, like, at least signify to me that they were doing something a wee bit different than they've ever done before. Like when we went through basically the same set of initiations. Like where he goes to meet the
heartache-shaped fruit.
elder,
and the burying
he goes
ritual?
to the elder
Yeah.
realms and stuff like that, and goes and has the exact same talk with his dad, and it is given heft and weight, and I'm like, oh my god, his dad is stuck in that apartment for all of
Forever. That's where Killmonger was born. Like he was born at
Yeah.
the time before
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
When he
yeah.
was there and found his dad dead with Panther claws in it. He was like, this shit's real now. And just like he's another fucking young black kid growing up in Oakland without a goddamn dad. And he took that and instead of becoming a piece of shit, he became a piece of shit in a completely different way. And like,
No, and instead of
he was
becoming
like-
a piece of shit, he became the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, he wants him and T'Challa essentially want the same things in the end. T'Challa was like, you know what, maybe I should be giving out this like more Wakandan stuff to the world. And Michael B. Jordan was the same way. T'Challa was like, let's have some outreach centers. And Michael B. Jordan was like, genocide.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, you know,
Slightly different application.
yeah, it's like you got your villain and your main guy who have the same fucking goal, but they have completely different ways of getting to it. And I think that that's what's important. 'cause
I
you
agree.
can, it's an execution, man.
Yeah. You know, take notice, other film writers or whatever. This is how you write a character that is sympathetic, but still not morally good, right?
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to write a villain that competes with the protagonist for like the audience's cheers or whatever, but you want to have someone whose efforts and their conflict and their struggle has weight because it's explained. You know, you understand why they're doing the things that they're doing.
good.
You present all the great parts of an imagined enlightened monarch, right? Where it's like, oh, the king is great, and he makes this decision, and he makes this.
But
And
what happens if your leader is insane?
yeah,
the
exactly.
shit
Americans don't know anything.
We have no idea what that's like.
Okoye balances that perfectly in her whole thing of like, I'm here for Wakanda.
Yes, I enjoyed
and she's
that.
like, T'Challa's my boy, but I'm here for Wakanda. And like, you see that struggle. She's like, I can't go with you.
Yeah, and that much honor is like it's a good thing. She never once was like, you know, he's my king and I'm right or that. She was just like, I have to do my job. This is my job.
Right.
To
Yeah.
serve the fucking throne. Like,
And she stayed so true to character.
Yes.
So true. And that to me conflicted with, you know, her boyfriend, like who's like, you know, vacillating back and forth.
He was in the sunken place.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I think the whole thing with that last final battle, like,
Ooh,
which,
huge thumbs down for
yeah,
me.
which
Yeah.
insofar as like the thing that kept me going was the fact that I was invested and I liked the character.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Like, but insofar as like fights and just like how it was kind of done, and I was just like, oh man, like this looks really boring.
Okay, this film had this is my
But
major issue.
I was still rooting for it because I gave a shit.
My major
what I mean?
issue with this was that like the fights for power, like that first fight between M'Baku and T'Challa was awesome, brutal,
Right.
Yeah.
great, super well filmed, very physical, and like you were really rooting. You know, they're showing this giant
gave him, like, a
waterfall
nice
with
big-
all
he
these
gave him a
people.
nice big hug.
Yeah, you know, it really felt like you felt that sense of danger where like, oh man, this guy is fallible and he can lose.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, when Killmonger comes and just fucking annihilates,
Rips it apart,
just
yeah.
like, I mean, you're just like, oh god,
Right.
like you're done, dude.
Right.
But then every other fight, every other sequence, the casino scene, bullshit.
I love
Yeah.
the casino scene.
Really?
I had a problem
I'm with
it
Dustin on this
because
one.
I just felt like you had all these cool badasses trying to do badass shit and you couldn't see shit.
Coogler's fight scenes in Creed are some of the most interesting and dynamic action sequences in 21st century filmmaking.
Oh, like that single take.
I think they did an entire boxing round of 3 minutes
Yeah.
in a single shot, and I remember watching it. I haven't even seen Creed. I looked it up online because it had gotten so much buzz, and I sat there with my jaw dropped just watching this incredible section.
Right.
And kind of doubling down on that was the CGI felt weightless and cheap. The film cost close to $250 million to make. But I was talking to Jared at Gaslight, and he said that this is the second production crew for MCU.
Really?
The main crew is working on.
Well, fucking Infinity War.
So, and I know that that's like a little shop talk or
That's
whatever,
interesting. No,
but
I-
I could absolutely tell the difference.
Because I wasn't there to look for the technical aspects,
Right.
and that's why, for the third time I'll say it, I need to see it for the second
Right,
time.
right.
Like, I love the movie, and I do know, because there's no such thing as a perfect film, but like, I talk about movies on the internet, so I want to
Right.
be able to like look at it objectively.
That is your job.
It is my job. I just saw it last weekend, so I haven't had the time to like see it again. So, but hopefully in the sequel, maybe he can fucking flesh out whatever,
Well, hopefully
whatever
he
needs
gets
to
that
get fleshed
aimless
out.
crew back. Like,
Yeah, right.
I
Maybe after
really think
Infinity
that
War.
was a lot of it, and it's not fair in a way. You know what I mean? Like why? Black Panther, I'm looking forward to Infinity War, but Black Panther gives more thematic and compositional depth to an MCU film than on average what you get. And it feels like that's where you would want to put your resources if you were really an auteur as a studio. But
But they're
obviously,
not. They
obviously they're
weren't.
not.
Actually,
right?
like,
For all of the beauty in the world building and the CGI they used to build Wakanda and that scene looked like garbage.
It's hot trash.
Like that
unbelievably
scene
bad.
looked like
looked pretty rough.
the battle charge in Avengers, where it's like it's like it looked like probably that those
On
like
the monorail, it looked pretty rough.
it looked
I'll have to
really
rewatch
dumb.
it.
And we watched it in IMAX. It should have looked better.
Right.
And it's like otherwise that film was beautiful.
It was just
but
like
it was
a little
just
too well lit or something. like that.
and it just was like not engaging. And like these like every time the train went by, everything just got blurry.
But then, right after that's kind of like the throws that happens with this movie, though, because then right after that movie made me cry.
With one of the best deaths of a fucking villain.
He's got it in there, and he goes, and he's just like, it's like,
Bury me in the ocean because I'd have jumped off the side of the ship.
I love that
what
line.
the
That was
It's like,
awesome.
Can you? It's like a kid from Oakland believing in fairy tales. Can you believe that? Single tear. And I'm like, Wallace, you got me again. Where's Wallace? Where the fuck is Wallace? Where's Wallace? Oh.
Look at me! Where the fuck is Wallace?
And when he was that line though, when he was like, bury me in the ocean. Because I would have jumped off the side of the ship because I know that bondage is better.
That was.
I was just like, death is better than bondage. I was like low key in tears. I was sitting back and I was like,
right there that I wish
holy
would have happened.
fuck! Like they said that in a fucking
In a
Disney movie.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out! That's like some heavy fucking thing. That's some shit that like. As a black person, I don't even want to fucking think about it. Like, if I find myself somehow transported back onto a slave ship, I go, well, goddamn, what? These are the options? Right. Shit out by a shark or fucking slavery? Like, that's some shit nobody wants to think about.
That's what happens when you get like a writer-director.
Yeah.
When there's like a kind of a singular.
We've come a long way from Disney's soft slavery apology of the Song of the South. Those are the same company. It's the same company. They wrote this film.
What if like when M'Baku rolled up to challenge him, he just comes out.
Holy shit!
That's
Disney,
funny.
what a goddamn company.
So, I agree that probably the best line in the film, I would say.
Yes.
And it's also, I think, a great moment to have like a little finality for a character. The MCU notoriously kids gloves, where they won't kill anyone, there's no consequences or whatever.
I do want him to live though. I want to kill Martin to live.
know.
If you're gonna keep Loki alive for 5 fucking movies, and we have like one of the only interesting motherfuckers we've ever had, and then
But if you kill Tom Hiddleston, how are teenage girls on Tumblr going to masturbate?
Truth. That is the absolute truth. With him though being dead and he had eaten the heart-shaped herb, maybe the next time T'Challa's like, I want to go talk to the spirit realm.
He can
They're just like, hey,
That's a super good idea.
Also, fuck your plans. Genocide. Shut up, Michael.
This was a bad idea. And we also live in an era where, there have been African golden ages several times throughout history. Yes. We at least get an image of one now in modern times, right?
Yeah.
Again, I don't think that that's enough for a film to coast on, but it was powerful and I enjoyed it.
Oh, hell yeah.
It spurred me to actually look into taking a trip to Africa. I'm a bad black person. I haven't thought about going to Africa. So, like, after watching that, I was, like, talking to my wife. I was like, we need to go to Africa. It's like, when we have a kid, like, I want to take this kid to Africa so me and this motherfucker can discover our roots together. I don't know where the fuck I'm from. Let's go find out this shit together.
Yeah.
Let's go to Ivory Coast. Let's figure some shit out. So, like, and I mean, that all came from a movie. So I know that a lot of people on the internet are hype about how it's fantasy and motherfuckers need to chill out and stop being so excited about it. We're not. But that's part of the reason, right? It's like I watched this and now I have an idea to go do a thing that's going to impact the real world. I'm going to go put money into a continent and into a country that could use that fucking money.
And that's where all the think pieces are coming from.
Is that the film instigated self-reflection in the people watching it,
and that's what a good film should do.
Right, yeah. Again,
So a Marvel movie?
Hey, I mean, I think that there are a lot of people who saw The Winter Soldier and started thinking about the security state for the first time. And and I think the film deserves credit for
And
that.
those two films are like...
That's in the top 3.
Yeah.
Well, Winter Soldier, so I'm sorry, apologies to everyone here. Winter Soldier is still the best MCU film, by a lot. Like, Black Panther is good, but...
Why are you apologizing to me? That's my favorite too.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm just, like, everybody's freaking out about the Black Panther, and I just think that The Winter Soldier is still, like, just a not perfect, but a very, very good film.
Somebody's like, this movie is like Barack Obama. It is not 100% perfect, but it is classy and competent. Also, like surrounding it a bunch of needless controversy.
Oh, yes.
It kind of is that shit.
Yeah.
Like, and to
it's also
me,
cool as
that
fuck.
was, and it was just like,
And white people love talking about how much they enjoyed it, too. So, there's like a real Barack Obama kind of a metaphor.
I would have voted for the movie 3 times.
Right, yeah.
Oh, no, that was another meme where it's like, it shows the dad from Get Out, and he was like, I saw Black Panther opening weekend.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. I loved it. It has me and my family having weird conversations that we don't usually have.
That's awesome.
It's also having me telling other members of my family, like my cousin, he calls me up and he's like, bro, this shit was up. I was like, I know, right? And he was like, Michael B. Jordan's that dude. I want to be Michael B. Jordan for Halloween. It's like, I don't think he was really the villain. I was like, all right, you need to calm down. But I get where you're coming from. Calm the fuck down. Like,
Yeah.
So like, it's interesting. I think it started a lot of conversations. It's good for the zeitgeist, if I'm using that word right. And it's a cool fucking movie. Culturally, we came out for it. We enjoyed it. That's how you make a goddamn good comic book movie, like with a bunch of black folks, without making it like, you know, shitty. Like, I don't know. Spawn was just okay. Like, let's be for real. I'm gonna watch it more so I can be a little more critical about it. But I'm gonna keep
have
going.
to be critical.
You gotta be critical, because then we can fucking tweet at Ryan Coogler, because we're older than him.
Yeah.
So he has to listen to us.
Sit down, young man.
Listen here, bro. This is the type of shit you gotta add in. Just let me tell you.
Listen to your goddamn elders.
Ryan Coogler, make The Wire the movie and put Michael B. Jordan in it.
That'd be good.
Get it back.
Final thoughts. I enjoyed the film. I would recommend it highly, both as a superhero film and not as a superhero film. I think it's just worth watching. You know what I mean? I will repeat what I said at the top of this, that I think that the critical praise for it is ridiculous. I guess like the headline on it is leaving a superhero film more impressed with its composition rather than its action is very rare. Yes. And that's what I felt with this film. And I think it's worthwhile in that way.
For sure.
In terms of a superhero movie, like, it wasn't as much fun to me as some of the other Marvel movies. That's why it's not in my top movies. But in terms of like critical reception, there's a lot to chew on, and I think that's why so many writers are so excited about this, because they're like, I can actually write about this. Like, how do you write about Thor Ragnarok? There's nothing to write about. There's no content.
You're right about how funny it and awesome it looked.
Yeah,
Right,
and
yeah.
like,
Funny
that's it.
and his lightning with the punching and
Yeah.
his eye came
Yeah.
out. Like what?
I'm not going to talk about this with my family because my family's the worst.
You have to.
We're your family now.
Seeing like characters that you're like, you can identify like their failings. And so to see a character like T'Challa who's having these failings with his father, and that's
He was
obviously
also flawed too, I thought.
well, yeah, and, like, the sins of your father.
Stand
and,
up.
you know,
are a king. That was awesome. Another good line.
but it was very true
Yeah.
and very interesting, and it had depth and meaning. And so, yeah, like, this isn't a popcorn film. It's not, to me, it's not as like super cool, like blow my mind visually, like, oh, this is the best, but like in a deep, like, inside you type of film, like, this is really good.
Yeah.
Right on.
All right.
Well, Chris, we appreciate you coming
Hey,
down.
thanks
for
go
joining us.
check out the Normies.
Oh yeah, everybody hit up the Normies. Like they're our brethren. Like as far as I'm concerned, like, you know, I think that they're more competent as a reaction channel.
Oh no, this has structure. We're a streaming shit show, but it's awesome.